Well, good evening, adventurers. It is another Wednesday, which means we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons now. Last week we left off in the bowels beneath the Vanthampur estates, where you guys are trying to uncover, welcome Xander, some solid evidence against the Vanthampurs to expose them as malvalent entities working against the better interest of Baldur's Gate, and trying to expose them and find some concrete evidence that they were somehow a part of the attacks that happened just a few days prior to now in the city. Although this is now week 9 of our play, only 3 in-game days have passed, believe it or not. I think you've had like 2 long rests at this point. And I guess I'll just let you guys know that if you survive the tunnels here below the Vanthampurs and come out alive, you will be level 4 soon. So just to give you a little something to look forward to. It's coming. I know we have a slower leveling pace, but hopefully that just makes every encounter you survive feel that much more meaningful. I'm going to do the same that I did for everyone else when we began the adventure, so we'll just have a little bit of introduction to our new adventurer here. And Xander, I am going to use your character a little bit here, so please forgive me a bit of liberty. I'm not going to roleplay you or anything, I'm just going to use you as a part of this scene.
Okay.
This is 3 days ago, before our current time that we are now. The same day that you all found your way to Baldur's Gate and the attacks upon the city took place, the widespread attacks of the Dead Three. Mavathor, you are in the Vanthampur Villa. The room that you are currently situated in is kind of a large dining hall, typically. But currently it is staged as a meeting room. There is a large fire blazing in the hearth on the west side of the room, and there is a long wooden table where a few prominent figures of the city are gathered for a little meeting. You are off standing in one corner witnessing this interaction for the time being. There's a large wrought iron chandelier above the ceiling hanging over this long black oak table. And why don't you make a perception check for me?
Sure thing. Ooh, strong way to start.
So some of these figures that are in the room with you, you know already. You have had a few interactions with the woman at the head of the table currently, which is Duke Thalmara Vanthampur. She is one of the 4 dukes that rule over Baldur's Gate, and beside her is a man named Thavius Kreeg. Thavius Kreeg is the current High Seer of Elturel, and it just so happens that today Thavius Kreeg has disappeared on a journey from Elturel to Baldur's Gate. There are people in Baldur's Gate expecting his arrival, and before he arrived in the city, his caravan was attacked and he was kidnapped. Today, Thavius Kreeg is expected to meet with Ulder Ravengard, one of the other 4 dukes of the city, and the head of the Flaming Fist, to sign a decree that would bring a new alliance between Elturel and Baldur's Gate into place. 2 of Thalmara Vanthampur's sons are in the room with you as well. Thirstwell Vanthampur and Mortlock Vanthampur. Mortlock is kind of standing against one of the other walls, and Thirstwell is seated at the table. He's got a little cube in his hands that he's sort of carving runes into one side with some pointed apparatus. He doesn't seem to be too interested in what's taking place currently. The other person that you see sitting at the table is a humanoid man. His face is sort of pale, and his features are blank and sort of lifeless. And Thalmara is seated between these 2 figures, Thavius and this person named Dolos, and she says, "Now, Dolos, I want you to get a good look at Thavius. The transformation must be perfect. There can be no errors today. Everything is riding on this meeting with Ulder, and no mistakes can be made. He must not discover that you are not Thavius." And you see the pale man across from Thavius sort of taking a good, hard, long look at the old man, and then you kind of see his visage begin to change and his body begin to expand, and he adopts a perfect replica, transforming into Thavius Kreeg, the High Overseer of Elturel. And Thalmara kind of looks between the 2 of them. And something you notice as this transformation is taking place is the hearth in the room that has the fire blazing is kind of casting shadows, as a fire might. The chandelier above is not currently lit, and it is kind of a dim, foggy day, and so the light outside of the hearth in the room is kind of low. So there are shadows kind of flickering all around the walls of the room, and something you notice with your natural 20 perception check is that the real Thavius Kreeg is casting an odd shadow. It's not the shadow of a man. Instead, what you see being cast behind him is something more along the lines of something fiendish. You see this shadow of a pudgy-horned figure with small little wings being cast on the wall. And kind of resting in that shadow of Thavius is another devil. Just full form, plain devil-looking creature. He's got purple skin and this snake-like beard that's the tendrils occasionally will twist and glance about the room, and he's kind of leaning on a tall glaive-like weapon. But he's just kind of standing there silently, much like you are, and much like Mortlock, just listening to this exchange as Thalmara instructs Dolos to take the form of Thavius. And then Thalmara says, "It looks perfect, Dolos. Excellent. I think this will do just fine. You've been studying Thavius's mannerisms, the way he speaks, for long enough now, and our plan rests on you. You must fool Ulder Ravengard into believing that you are Thavius. You must sign the deal, and you should have the proper time to escape once the attacks on the city take place. Head to the high halls, and don't fail me. And without a sound, you see Dolos stand, and he strides confidently out of the room in the shape of Thavius Kreeg. And Thalmara turns to Thavius, and she says, "Now as for you, Thavius, I have arranged accommodations for you down below the villa. You have your own room, but Thirstwell here will allow you to use his laboratory as well to interrogate the object you brought with you. Thirstwell will, of course, assist you in any way that he can, and he will make his devices and his library available to you at your will." Thavius kind of nods and he says, "Thank you, Thalmara. You have been very gracious, and our alliance will continue to thrive if today goes well." And she kind of snaps her fingers and she says, "Thirstwell, do anything Thavius asks of you. No questions." And Thavius kind of like puts the object he's fiddling with into his pocket and says, "Yes, of course, Mother, of course." And he gets up and the two of them leave together. And she says, "Well, Mavathor, we meet again. Why don't you please have a seat?"
I'll, quietly nod and take his seat next to her.
She says, "Some of your endeavors since you've begun working with us have all succeeded thus far, Mavathor. I find you to be a prudent and competent ally, and I have a new mission for you that I'm hoping that you're willing to undertake. I know I haven't been totally forthcoming with you in some of my plans, but I believe that I can trust you more fully now. It's time that I let you in on our little scheme. Today is a day of reckoning. And as you might know, Ulder Ravengard has been turning the city upside down. The Flaming Fist is in disarray, and he's meddled too far into the pockets and plans of the nobles that have run the city for so many years. Today, we make sure that the people of Baldur's Gate know that Ulder Ravengard cannot save them, and that he has overstayed his welcome here in the city. What I would like you to do is meet with a group of cultists near the Manor Gate and assist them in their objective, which is murdering and causing chaos in the city. These coordinated attacks are all going to happen at once, and they are going to be a strong show of force that Ulder Ravengard does not have Baldur's Gate under control. These cultists have a list of names that they must kill, but there does not need to be much attention paid to casualties. Anyone who gets in your way can be dealt with appropriately. But the people on the list that they have must be killed. I want you to make sure that they do their job, seeing as they can be a bit reckless. And when the job is done, you can report back here. By the end of the day, the streets of Baldur's Gate will be painted red with blood. And Zariel will gift us with her favor and her praise.
He'll kind of shoot her a quizzical look and say, "So, you're telling me that these cults are to be indiscriminate, even targeting untargeted civilians on this list?
Or confusion and chaos that happens, the better. What's a few meaningless, pathetic lives in the name of our masters?
He'll kind of subtly bite his lower lip before clearing his throat and saying, "Of course, Madam Vanthampur, you can count on me." And he'll look to her to see if he's open to be dismissed.
Yeah, let me ask you. She gives you this command, and I guess when you say yes, of course, and you are looking to see if you are able to be dismissed, she's going to make an insight check on you to discern whether or not you're actually going to follow through with what she's asking of you.
Okay.
I think she maybe she detects a little bit of that tremble in your voice. So let's see. I suppose that you don't plan on following through with what she's asking, do you?
No, he wasn't planning on doing that.
Why don't you make a deception check for me?
Oh my god.
Oh, snap.
Oh, dang.
She says, yes, of course, Mavathor. I knew that I could count on you, and I'm sure that you will not disappoint me or our lords today. You are dismissed.
He'll stand up and promptly walk out.
So I wasn't expecting you to double natural 20 me. What do
Me
you
neither.
Do? So what do you do? What do you do when Duke Thalmara dismisses you?
He's going to briefly pause outside and try and collect his thoughts and think of, what the best course of action would be for this situation. And then he remembers one of his relatives is captain of the city, and that he might report that these attacks are going to happen to him.
You head out of the Vanthampur's villa, and you make your way out into the streets of the upper city. And the Vanthampur's villa is just north of the manor gate where Thalmara has commanded you to meet up with the cultists serving ball. It just so happens that you know that also just south of the manor gate is the barracks where your cousin Vorn holds his command in the city as one of the captains of the Flaming Fist. And so, thinking of one of the only people that you might be able to warn of this bloodthirsty attack that's about to take place against the people of Baldur's Gate, you start to make your way through the streets. Why don't you make another perception check for me? What kind of pace do you have going?
I think he's just going to try his best to, play it off as if he's actually going to, the proposed location.
Sorry, give me a sec. I accidentally closed the NPC tab I needed. So you start heading down towards the Manor Gate, and just maybe 2 short blocks through the Manor Gate, you know that that's where the barracks where Captain Bourne sleeps and spends his time when he's not on duty. And as you head, Baldur's Gate is kind of like this tiered city, so as you head from the upper city down into the lower city, you can kind of feel a bit of a gradient decline as you make your way past the temples towards the Manor Gate, and as you make your way through the gates, you step into kind of a heavy fog that often rests in the lower city, and especially quite often in the early mid-morning, up sometimes all the way into the afternoon. And as you step through the Manor Gates, you step into this heavy fog, and you make your way along the cobbled street, and just as you're maybe 20 feet away from the barracks where you hope to find Captain Thorne, you feel a firm hand on your shoulder. And you turn, and there, 5 feet from you in the fog, you see the purple-skinned devil that was in the room with you all as Thalmara was giving people instruction for the day. And as you turn, his tendrils of his beards are kind of, moving, and he's got this sort of tilted grin on his face, and the devil says, "Where do you think you're going?"
Oh, I thought might just pay my cousin a visit. Why do you ask?
Well, the Duke Thalmara gave you some direct orders. I don't believe you have time to be paying anyone any visits. The attacks will begin soon. Could it be that you're disobeying her order so soon?
No, of course not. She didn't give me a very strict timetable here. I knew they would happen soon, but not immediately.
He, make a deception check for me. He's speaking to you in Infernal as well.
Oh.
He rolled an 8, so I'm glad he rolled a 4. He says, I warned Thalmara that she should trust you. I could tell that you weren't fully invested in our cause. Tell me, is it truly Zariel you serve?
No.
Yes, I didn't
Nice.
think so. Go ahead.
I serve the one true ruler of hell, Asmodeus. As do you, and I imagine you'd keep that in mind.
They glare at you menacingly for a few moments, and they say, "Certainly Asmodeus is our infernal lord. but it is Zariel whose command I fall under now. As we carry out these plans, and any break in a direct command from Dalmara is a break in direct command from Zariel. I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm going to have to bring you with me until we figure out where your loyalties truly lie. I can send someone else to assist the cultist this day.
I suggest you do, and I'll be sure to pray long and hard to Asmodeus for you, for he might not be as kind to your failings as Zariel is.
I'm sure that when this is all said and done, and our objective has been completed, Asmodeus will be satisfied, no matter what tactics we've used. And are you going to come with him quietly, willingly? Are you going to put up a struggle?
Well, I don't think he would stand much chance against Barb Devil, so I suppose he won't put up a fight.
He kind of gestures with his glaive. As he does so, you hear off in the distance some explosions of magic, and you can hear screams begin to emanate throughout the narrow streets of the lower city as the attack begins. And as you feel the sharp blade of the glaive on your back, the devil pushes you back up through the city to the Vanthampur villa and brings you down into the sewer systems below. He guides you through a sewer complex, the halls of which are lined with these green glowing lanterns, and you pass by a couple of black-robed figures in golden deviled masks walking on either side of the aqueduct, carrying these dangling cisterns with incense billowing out of them to kind of mask the smell of the sewers. They kind of move to one side as the devil pushes you, and then you come to a metal door, which he swings open, and you see a number of cells. He pulls out a little set of keys from his belt, and he opens one of the cells, pushes you inside, and he closes the door behind. He says, "I'll return when the attacks of the city have been completed." And he closes the door behind you, and you are left in the chamber cell of the prisons below the Vanthampur villa. There's not even a cot. There's just like a brass piss pot and sort of damp, empty cell, and it's dark, completely quiet when he closes the outer door to the room the cells are in. And then after a few minutes, you hear a voice, and someone speaks to you in Infernal. Let me see. Just ignore these little tokens for now. You hear someone say to you in Infernal, "Hello? Can you hear me?"
Yes, I can.
Who are you?
I don't suppose that's a question of much consequence. Why does it matter?
Well, I've been locked away down here a few days now, and nobody's been to check on me. I You know, two heads are better than one. I'd like to get out of here. Better than starvation or dehydration. Perhaps we could work together and find a means to escape. What are you in for?
Disobeying orders.
Well, did you work for the Vanthampurs?
Yeah, I did.
What was it that caused you to betray them?
Well, they seemed hell-bent on indiscriminate carnage of citizens of Baldur's Gate. Fortunately, I don't think that really falls in line with the teachings of Asmodeus.
They say, yes, Asmodeus is an interesting character. Odd set of codes, that fellow. Well, I'm all ears if you have any ideas.
Oh, they took my weapons, so I don't think I can break out of here very easily. I have some magic, but I don't have my holy symbol to channel through.
They say, these cells are locked pretty tight. I'd even had a couple of little tools stashed away in my boot, and to no avail, like, no use to me. Suppose all we can do is wait.
It seems like that's the case, yes.
I just want you to know that somehow, when that fellow returns, if he lets you out of the cell, we can manage to overpower him. I'm more than willing to assist you so we can both get out of here alive.
It might be a while. I imagine the attacks they had planned are going to take some time.
He says, he's quiet for a little while. He says, I don't mean to pry, but, just out of curiosity, since it seems like we have some time to kill, what is it exactly you were doing for the Vanthampurs?
The odd job here and there. Mostly side work. When they needed me to fetch something, I would go do it. But, this is one of the requests I wasn't able to fulfill.
They say it's, I find it quite curious that you're so forthcoming with, Lord that you serve. It's not often you find a fellow so willing to expose themselves as a devotee to Asmodeus.
The way I see it, there should be no shame in loving where you come from.
You'd mentioned that, you weren't a fan of indiscriminate carnage, so where do you draw the line?
Well, according to Adam Vanthampur, these people had signed contracts, and legalese of the Nine Hells is extensive, and I imagine if these documents are as airtight as devils tend to make them, they probably had it coming.
Oh, so you're a bit of a scholar in the matters of the Nine Hells.
Scholar would be a strong word. I just more or less have some knowledge.
Could I ask you what it is about Asmodeus that enthralls you so to follow him? You mentioned that you had some magic. I suppose that means that Asmodeus accepts you as one of his devotees.
Yeah, I saw something in him, and I suppose he saw something in me. My devotion comes from a place of respect, I'd say. He's the only archdevil that we know of to have attained divinity.
He is an interesting character. What does it feel like to be granted power by such a powerful being?
He only gives me what he believes I can handle at any given time. So, by all accounts, quite comfortable, actually.
Have you ever spoken with him?
Oh, no, that's reserved for someone much higher in the clergy.
Do you ever speak to him?
I try.
I have one final question, and then perhaps I'll leave you to your thoughts for a bit, but what do you think it is that Asmodeus wants of this world?
The teachings that I follow, he wants nothing more than total perfect order by any means necessary.
It's very interesting. Thank you for your insights. What is your name?
Mavathor, and what is your name?
My name is Fallister.
Does Mavathor know that name from anywhere?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I am a scholar myself, you could say. I reside in the libraries of Candlekeep. I've been tracking the movements of devils in Baldur's Gate for some time now. Quite fortunate I would be placed in the cells with somebody who follows one so closely. Life is funny that way.
Indeed, but how did you end up here?
Oh, just snooping around in places I didn't belong. As one does. That, Mortlock, he packs a punch when he gets you from behind.
Yeah, he does. He also packs a punch from the front when you have to look at him for several hours.
He chuckles, he says, yes, of course. Well, I have been up for some time. My nerves are kind of on edge. Appropriately so, considering the circumstances. Perhaps I'll take this time to rest a bit. For some odd reason, your words have brought some comfort to me. And your presence has as well. But thank you for your insights once again, Mavathor, and perhaps when I wake up we can speak more on the philosophies of Asmodeus and his place in the multiverse.
I wouldn't count on it. I don't think they took too kindly to my transgression.
Well, nevertheless, perhaps we'll get lucky. And
Perhaps.
then Fallister kind of goes quiet. Is there anything you would like to attempt in your cell?
I guess I'll just take a seat and just try and pray.
Sometime later, the devil returns that placed you in the cells. He seems kind of agitated when he returns. He kind of opens the latch that you can look through between the door of the cell, and he glares at you. You can kind of see some green light spilling in. You hear Fallister and Infernal say, "How long are you going to keep us in here?" And the demon says, or the devil says, "Shut up, you pathetic mortal." He looks at you in your cell, Mavathor, and he says, "You should not have decided to betray Dalmara's order. Things are not going to bode well for you."
No, I didn't.
No, go ahead.
I didn't imagine they would, but I was only doing what I thought was right.
He grins and shows you a double set of pointed white teeth. He says, "I'm going to revel in your sacrifice." And then for the next 2 days, he kind of comes and goes. He spends time now and again just like orating the different horrible ways that he hopes that you'll be tortured before you die, loudly in the prison cells. And it is during a couple days later, one of these long-winded speeches, that he kind of goes quiet, and then there is like the door outside of the cells pushes open, and some of the green light from the lantern spills into the room, and he's kind of opened your latches, and yours and Fallister's latches, so you can hear him better, and so you can see in these four figures spill into the room, and they enter into combat with the devil that's been dictating all of the terrible deaths that he wishes you to undertake. And you see this. Well, Dolos, why don't you describe what your character looks like as Mavathor appears at you through the cells as you all enter and begin to fight this devil that you defeated last week.
You see a robed figure with a very, I guess you could say, almost void of any sort of color as well as his face. It's very dark and black, but there are some humanistic features. It's very unsettling to look at. The humanoid figure you see with stark white eyes.
You're a little quieter than normal, Xander.
I am? Oh
Yeah.
no.
It might there you're a little louder. It might have been your secretive Dolos low tone. that you drop into
Sorry.
sometimes. Yeah.
But like character gets a little
um,
long. Um,
um,
no, yeah, you see like a humanoid figure, robed, very dark, sort of void of any color, very like black face. There are some humanistic features there. You can see these very stark white eyes. A very, you don't really see any emotion on his face.
and you see um, another adventurer enter the room. They come in and with their bow, letting loose shots here and there. What do they see, May?
Yes, so you see a male Haragon, probably about 5'9". They have gray fur all over, but white-tipped rabbit feet, hands, and ears. They're just wearing basic leather armor. And yeah, just letting some arrows loose during the fight.
You see a another adventurer enter the room. As she does so, she casts some magic, and it backs the demon into a corner between the two cells. And you see her flash a few daggers from her belt, hurling them at the devil as they battle with him. Why don't you describe Sylvie?
Let's see.
There you go.
There we go. There you go. Gotta have to talk in here from now on.
Yep.
Okay, so she is about 5'6". She's a moon elf, so she's got like a grayish blue skin, lilac eyes, very light blue hair, normally in braided pigtails, and a purple cloak. Always has the hood up. And yeah, basically it for her.
And you see as well a silver-skinned man adorned in golden bangles. They have a crowned wreath on their head with little wings. You see them holding a long spear that's pointed in one end and has a fist at the other that they're kind of swinging at a distance, kind of behind the others. They do a bit of flash of magic. You see them supporting their companions a bit here and there with some divine green magical energies, closing up some of their wounds as they battle, and then you witness them slay this devil who's been tormenting the two of you locked away in the cells for the past few days. They have a conversation with Fallister. You hear Fallister articulate some of the things that he spoke to with you about, but he goes a little bit more into depth. He says he's an agent working for Candlekeep, a member of an organization called the Harpers that's been tracking the activities of devils for some time in Baldur's Gate. He suspects that the Vanthampurs have been now in league for some time with some powerful devils and been working with them to destabilize Baldur's Gate. That they have some bigger scheme in mind, but he hasn't been able to figure out what that is. And they let him out of the cell. And then Fallister says, wait, there's someone else in here with me. And he points to another cell, and he says, Mavathor, are you with us?
He'll stand up and say, yes, I'm here.
And the rest of you hear this voice of this other man, also locked away in one of the cells. And you're welcome to interact with them as you please.
Do we really trust another stranger to join our ranks? Simply being the voice of caution.
We've already trusted one so far.
Well, all right.
And
Ballister says, he's been very forthcoming with me, and from what he says, he betrayed the Vanthampurs. That is what has ended him here in the cells with me.
I say we let
And
him
I
out.
see no reason I would have to agree with you there, Bunny.
Good. I'll go try to unlock the cell.
There's kind of a breeze wafting through the sewers at the moment, and it blows some of the ash across the floor of the that the devil evaporated into, and you actually see, along with the glaive, kind of in the pile of ash there, the set of keys for the other cells. Craylee, you could pick up the keys.
Yeah, I'll pick 'em up.
Yeah, and you unlock the other cell with the voice behind it, and Mavathor steps out. Mavathor, what does your character look like?
Mavathor is very clearly a tiefling by his red skin and black hair, and I forget what color eyes I jotted down. I'll just go with the picture, yellow eyes. And he is currently in some half plate right now, and he has just one symbol of I don't know if you want them to have to roll for which deity it belongs to that he has on him.
Is it like a random one?
No, it's the one. It's Asmodeus specifically, but
Oh. Yeah, they could make a history check.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my.
Oh.
Craylee and Dolos, both of you recognize the sigil present on Mavathor's person. You recognize it in the light of Lathander that has been flipped through in the barracks a few times as a representation of Asmodeus, the Lord of the Nine Hells.
You work for Asmodeus.
work is a strong word. Worship would be the correct term.
Yeah, of course.
And it was Mavathor? Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And I'll offer you my water skin.
he'll
You-
gladly take it and start to drink.
Yeah. I give him the other half of rations I have left over from my little friends.
He'll also gladly take it.
I need to teach you guys how to treat prisoners correctly.
Prisoner anymore, technically.
Unless
They are
I'm
on our
the
side
prisoner.
now.
Yeah, we don't need to treat Mavathor like you've treated some of the other prisoners you've come across, Stolas.
Oh no, not that.
Let him get through at least 2 sessions before we.
Okay.
He'll wipe the water off his chin and say, "So why are you all here?"
Anything and everything on the Vanthampurs.
Well, I think I have enough juicy gossip to keep you all sated for a while.
He
Oh,
loved us.
what do you know?
And Dolos, of course, you do actually now recognize this person, although you've never met or spoke with them. You know, you did notice that they were the day you met Thavius and Dalmara, the day of the attacks. He was there briefly present in the room. Mavathor, I don't know that you necessarily recognize Dolos. He looks a bit different than on that day 3 days ago. He went through some magical mishaps that have changed his appearance. But Dolos, for you, I think you would recognize him. I figured you'd probably ask eventually anyways.
Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah. But sorry, go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, how about this for juicy gossip? The Vanthampurs have a quite interesting deal going on with Zariel, the first archdevil, or the archdevil of the first layer of hell.
Well, we kind of already know that, so
It's old gossip.
And then I assume you know they're behind the attacks of the people of Baldur's Gate.
Unfortunately.
also knew that one.
Well,
It's good to have somebody back the information up again, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in a way, yes.
and I suppose you know that Thavius Kreeg is not all he appears to be.
Oh. What do you mean?
That one.
Well, I recently saw him about 3 days ago, and he was meeting with the Madame Vanthampur, and I couldn't help but notice his shadow looked very different than he actually appeared.
Like taller?
Taller, rounder, uglier, but that might be hard for him to achieve. Definitely fiendish, I'd say.
Oh. So interesting.
So, seeing him recently with the Vanthampurs and they're in league with a fiend, I can only assume that he himself has become a fiend.
This is troubling news indeed.
You sure this is actually him?
Why do you say that?
No. Just, I mean, we've got someone over here who can pretty much shape themselves into anyone they want.
Yes, we do. And Delch has disguised self to look like Krayley.
Yeah, so was it you that day I saw impersonate Thavius?
Well, I hate to say it, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I was in High Hall that day.
Interesting, because there was another person there who also had the ability to perfectly mimic someone's form, and I don't know too many people like that in Baldur's Gate.
Make a
Well,
deception
that is
check,
very-
Dolos.
Of course.
And you can make an insight check, Mavathor.
This is bad.
I'm just a little baffled seeing myself talk.
Aw.
You know that the person that you saw 3 days ago, this person, although they seem to have an innate ability to transform, they don't look anything like the person that was there. And they say that wasn't them. Although it's hard to believe that from somebody who can transform into anything, so.
Yeah, he still holds his suspicion, but
Certainly.
I'm sorry, Mavathor, but I don't get my powers to any innate thing with deity. A magical gift from a friend, and those will hold up his mask.
I see.
He must have me confused with someone else.
Clearly. Well, to make a long story short, I can assure you I'm no longer in league with the Vanthampurs, although we had similar interests. Their indiscriminate carnage put a bad taste in my mouth.
And what are your similar interests?
Well, as oh, you didn't make the roll. But he'll say, well, I'm a worshipper of Asmodeus, who's the ruler of the Nine Hells, and they're worshippers of Zariel, one of the archdevils. So we align in that regards that we but obviously things didn't go as planned since they entrusted me initially to lead the cultists on their attack, which I declined, and I was going to actually report this to one of the captains of Baldur's Gate, but I got caught in the process.
It's like bad luck.
Very bad
At
luck.
least you now.
I say that after I rolled 2 nat 20s. Well, I assume you all here are also to put a stop to the Vanthampurs.
In a way.
In a
Well,
way,
it's-
yes. Here to gather information initially.
Yes.
Seems clear as day. I might be interested in helping you all out, seeing as our goals align.
Well, maybe traversing the west of the sewer system with you may not be the worst idea.
Agreed.
You do know now that Mavathor that it is quite likely that as long as Thalmara still breathes, your life is likely now in danger.
Hmm. Well, I suggest we get as far away from here as possible. That bearded devil might as well be reporting back to Madame Vanthampur, and we want to be far away from here when that happens.
Well, I know Ballister needed some gear. Did you need anything since you've been in prison?
Yes, they appropriated my weaponry and shield.
Love a ton of daggers.
I offer a short sword if you would like it. Just standard short sword.
Yeah, he'll just take it for the time being.
Okay. All right. It is yours. Is Dola still disguised as me?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
no, he stopped that. It wasn't fun.
Go. Delete that. Okie dokie.
One sec.
Okay.
So you guys are still under the Vanthampur Villa, and it's a few hours until morning still. Um, and you, even though you found you found the ledger with the list of names that you believe to be all of the people that have made contracts with devils. You're still looking for something more concrete to expose the Vanthampurs as being behind the attacks. Something that can be brought before the other dukes. That is evidence so clear that it can't be denied. And you don't believe that you've found that yet.
And did we hear infernal chanting near the end of last session? Is that still audible? Like distant? Or
Oh
did I make that
yeah,
up?
the chance.
I did
No, I
forget
remember
about
it.
that.
Alright.
Did you hear infernal chanting?
I thought we did.
Let me see.
We heard some sort of chant.
Yeah, I guess if that's what I said, then that's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote down
Okay.
chanting infernal mirror cells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just looking at the rolls so I can figure out.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't think we should leave until we have concrete information to incriminate the Vanthampurs. And I don't believe what we have would do that job.
Oh, they know it's just a list of names.
Yeah, sadly.
I do think with Fallister and Mavathar's help, or Mavathor, sorry, Mavathor's help, if you guys are willing, I do think it would be safer to explore a little further together.
Yeah, I don't, or do I know this part of the house, or
You've never been under the villa.
okay, so I don't know exactly where we are, but
Well, if we continue this way, we should end up in Thiswell's laboratory.
mm,
And he,
You do know, yes, Dolos, that you must be getting close to the part of the sewers under the villa that you're more familiar with.
okay.
You guys have been
Oh.
heading in the right direction.
Okay. And unlike the other two sons, Thiswell would actually help us in our mission.
Well, at least we know one of them's clean.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
One of them is fled, one of them's clean, and one of them's a piece of shit.
So if you guys headed back out into the hall, the path continues to the northwest. As you make your way up and around the corner, some distance down, there are more of the green lanterns that are hanging from cords from the ceiling, and you see two of the black-robed cultists in golden mask turn a corner holding their censers, dispersing incense through the halls. As you come around the corner, they turn the corner and head north. And then as you guys make your way further down the halls, you start to you come to a T section, and here, Dolos, when you're thinking about the outline of the Vanthampur's estate, and you're down here beneath the estates, you're starting to feel like, just from the distance you've been traveling, like this should be near the part of the tunnels beneath the villa that you're more familiar with. Although on your side, you've always been used to coming in and out of the secret entrances, and you realize why you've never been to this other side of the villa. As you crash, or as you come through this T section, you can see that there are on the wall inside of the T section, there are cranks that lower stone walls down to block off either side of this T section of the sewers. And as you guys are kind of here in this T section, and you're starting to feel like, oh, this is why I've never been past, because to you it's always looked like there's been a wall here. Why don't you all make some perception checks for me?
How interesting.
Come on, 8s.
Real good for once.
Yeah.
That chanting that some of you thought you have heard is louder in this area. It was kind of silent for a bit as you made your way through the halls, and then it starts up again, and you can hear this infernal chanting going on. Although it's too muffled to quite make out what's being said fully, you can hear it, and it seems like it's coming through like just the other side of the wall that you're currently on. Dolos, with a 20 perception, I would say that you can make out that it's like at least 4 distinct voices.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you can kind of like hear it on the other side of the wall here.
Okay.
And then you know that just down the hallway, if you keep going, Thirstwell's laboratory is there. And you know there
To the
is
south?
So, what's that?
The south hallway or the east hallway?
To just if you kept going west, so like right
Oh,
here,
west.
right, we're basically right here at this next T section. You know, just to the south there is Thirstwell's laboratory. You know that over on this side of the tunnels under the estates, there's a couple of different rooms. There's a chamber with like a summoning circle in it that has like demonic images painted on the walls and the ceiling. You know, there's like a room where there are, it's kind of like a storage room of sorts. There are like storage closets where the Vanthampurs keep extra equipment for their servants and people they have employed, like when they hire temporary guards and things of that nature. You know that there's like a little miniature barracks with a bunch of bunks that they people can sleep in and stuff. So
Okay.
try and make your way you guys could try and make your way to figure out where the chanting's coming from, or you could head to some of those other areas.
Dolos will relay all that information to the rest of the group. There's chanting here, storage room this way, laboratory this way, sermon circle this way. I don't
Guess
know what you guys want to do.
I guess where do we think we're gonna get the most concrete evidence? I guess be the laboratory.
That's where I would suggest.
Yeah.
If it helps your decision, I'm also badly hurt. And that would
Okay.
go down in a fight.
Then I say we do the laboratory.
Yeah, lab's a good idea.
Well, you would know.
What about you?
You would know, Dolos, that the most likely place they would store Ballister and Mavathor's equipment, if they took it, would probably be the storage room. Mavathor,
Okay, and
you know, when they start talking about Thirstwell, you know that Thirstwell and Thavius left together 3 days ago, and you know, Balmara had told Thirstwell to give Thavius full access to his laboratory.
Mm-hmm. I was supposed to get her to look in the lab for evidence, but I imagine if we are going to find something, it'd probably be in the actual estate itself.
me and Sylvia have already checked the rooms and the occupants. All we found were some ledgers with not that very incriminating evidence.
Mm.
A list of names, some business deals.
Yeah, nothing illegal. If it would make you feel better, though, most yours and Ferris's items are probably kept in the storage room. We could head there before we go to the laboratory if it would make you feel better or safer.
It would. It would allow me to actually use my magic.
Okay, then
Storage
maybe a
room
quick
it is.
detour there and then to the laboratory.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
All right.
So you guys can make your way to that next intersection. That door there directly to the south of you, you know to be Thirstwell's lab. And then as you guys make your way to the T, down the hall to the north, you see the two figures round another corner with their sensors, just as you come around yours. As they're pathing through the halls below the villa here. You would know that door directly to the north of you, Dolos, would be like the storage room.
Wonderful. Oh.
Nope.
You go first.
After you.
You see several wooden wardrobes that stand against the walls. They all have like black robes and these golden masks that you've seen the two figures that are wandering the halls wearing, that are like shaped in different forms of twisted.
Should we take some?
Yes.
If you want to.
I grab a mask.
I'll grab one as well. And stuff it in my bag.
I'll grab a
Do you take masks? Just masks, no robes?
A robe too. Maybe we'll need to fit in to this little chanting thing.
And then kind of tossed in one corner, you see, you find Mavathor's belongings and some of Ballister's belongings as well.
Thor will dust off his shield and grab his warhammer and say, "All right, I'm ready." When did you say you were injured?
Hey,
Yeah, Dolos is pretty dinged up.
yeah, that devil got me pretty good.
Hmm. See, he focuses and then casts a healing word on you.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you. Was not expecting that.
And do we still hear the
Well,
chanting from here?
As you guys kind of go around the corner and create some space, it gets fainter, becomes much harder to hear.
Okay.
You have to really strain.
Gotcha. So onward to the laboratory then?
I think that would be our best bet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I will advise you, though, when you see this, well, don't overreact at his appearance.
Dolos? What does that
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
He looks a little undead, but he's not. He just doesn't eat a whole lot.
Oh, so he's very skinny.
Very skinny.
Yeah, very skinny, very pale. It's
Okay.
a little unsettling to some. Just so you know.
You guys stand before the doors to Thavius's laboratory. It is a large metal door, like many of the others you've gone through down here below the vault or the villa. Before you enter, why don't you make some perception checks for me as well?
Oh no.
Nice. Nice. Oh, two.
Hey, ooh,
Goodness.
nice.
Um, Dolos and Mavathor, you recognize a voice that you hear on the other side of the door. You recognize the voice of Thavius, and he's speaking to someone. You hear him say something along the lines of, "There's no reason for you to continue deceiving me. Just tell me what I want to know." And before you guys enter, we will take our mid-session break because we're right there.
Okay.
So go ahead and feel free to take a little fiver, stretch your legs, get a drink, get a snack, do what you need to do, and we'll return shortly.